Hi class, we're going to be learning about the unit circle today, so has anyone seen this before?
Me! I've seen the unit circle before. I think I saw it last year in math class.
Okay, that's great. Before we get into more of the details, I'm going to cover some definitions in case you guys haven't learned this yet. So, when talking about the unit circle, we want to know what a sine is, a cosine is, a radian, a degree, and a tangent. So, sine is a trigonometric function that is equal to the ratio of the side opposite of a given angle to the hypotenuse. A cosine is a trigonometric function that is equal to the ratio of the side adjacent to the acute angle to the hypotenuse. A tangent is a straight line or plane that touches a curve or curved surface at a point, but if extended, doesn't cross it at that point. Okay, so when looking at the unit circle, you have radians and you have degrees. So a radian, for example, is 2 pi, and it is a unit of an angle equal to an angle at the center of a circle whose arc is equal in length to the radius. And then an example of a degree is 360 degrees, and a degree is a unit of measurement of an angle. And so when looking at a specific point on the unit circle, for example, this point right here, the x value represents the cosine number, which would be 1, and the y value represents the sine number, which would be 0. Okay, so can one of you guys show me the sine of 30 degrees and the cosine of 150 degrees?
Okay, so I think the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2, and then the cosine of 150 degrees is negative root 3 over 2.
Okay, so to make sure that the rest of you guys understand how she got those answers, when finding the sine of 30 degrees, you want to find 30 degrees on your unit circle, and you know that sine is the y value, so for this point at 30 degrees, you know it would be 1/2. And then when finding cosine of 150 degrees, you do the same thing. You find 150 degrees on your unit circle, and you know that it is the x value, so you know that cosine of 150 degrees is negative square root 3 over 2.
So when talking about the unit circle, do I have to remember it, or is there a specific pattern or way to make it simpler to follow it and remember it?
Okay, so when dealing with degrees, you want to start right here at the point 1, 0, and that's 0 degrees because, when thinking about an angle, it's just flat, 0 degrees. And then each line goes up by a certain amount, and each quadrant is symmetrical. So, for example, the first line goes up by 30 degrees, so this right here would be 30 degrees. And then it goes to 45, and then 60, and then 90. And so then when you're looking at this quadrant, it goes up by 30 degrees, and then 15, 15, and another 30, and then it does that throughout the whole thing, and it ends at 360 degrees. Okay, so when looking at the unit circle, starting from here and going all the way around, this length is 2 pi. So half going only 180 degrees is 1 pi. So when you split the unit circle up into different sections, you have, if you're just forgetting the pi because that makes it confusing sometimes, you have 0, 1/2, 1, 3/2, 2, and then from there, you also have like a fourth and 3/4. And so when you put pi into the equation, this is 0, but then 1/4 is also 1 pi over 4 or pi over 4. And so when looking at that pattern, that is how you find radians anywhere on the unit circle.
Well, that still seems like so much memorization. How am I going to remember that?
Don't worry about it. The more we practice it, the easier it'll be to remember it, and you'll have plenty of chances to practice your unit circle. Okay, before we move on to further practice, I want to go over one more distinct pattern in the unit circle that will help you memorize it. Okay, so if you picture the unit circle on a graph, each of these different points has its own set of coordinates. So if you're looking at this first quadrant, first of all, if you're looking at a graph and you're looking at the first quadrant, everything is going to be positive, so you already know that. And then if you take, sine and cosine of 30 degrees, for example, is going to be square root 3 over 2 and 1/2. And as you move up the unit circle, you can see each coordinate is over 2, and it goes from 3, 2, 1, going this way for the x coordinate, and then 3, 2, 1 going down for the y coordinate. Okay, so now I'm going to hand out some pieces of paper, and I want you guys to write down other ways that the unit circle can be applied to other topics of math that we've covered this year.